So, a couple of things that happened this week that I wanted to share with you. I was listening to NPR on the way to campus the other day, and I caught, I'm like 20 minutes into the program, and I turn it on, and they're doing an interview with James Wallman, who's an author and reporter, and he's written this new book called Stuffication. Now, Curly and I just the night before happened to have had a conversation about how we have too much stuff. And it gets, we have a small house and that's fine, but, we just have too much stuff. And we've been trying to cut down since we moved here. Just sort of what I like to call dematerializing, because I'm a Harry Potter fan. So we've been really working to dematerialize our lives. And that just sort of, again, emphasized to us how important stuff is in our lives and how much it shouldn't be. So I was really excited to hear this interview and about this new book, and I want to read that. And one of the things that he discusses is that we have so much material goods in our lives that we can't see what's really important, and what we really need is more experience. Mm-hmm. There's something that's called hedonistic adaptation. So hedonism is that idea of pleasure principle, and what we do because it makes us feel good sort of thing. And one of the things we do in our culture is we go buy stuff. And everybody's all excited because they got the new cool smartphone and it does all this cool stuff. And then in 2 weeks it's just a phone. Or you go get the new cool shoes or the new outfit and isn't cool and spiffy. And then in 3 weeks it's just clothes. Hedonistic adaptation, whatever that is that gives us that sense of excitement when we buy something, wears off fairly quickly. Mm-hmm. In fact, we even have in our culture something called buyer's remorse. So you go and you spend all that money to make you feel really good, whether it's a house or a car, something really big, and then 3 days later you're going to panic because you just spent all this money that you don't actually have. Most of us don't, right? So we've become this super material culture. And that keeps us sometimes from remembering the things that are really important. Because when we talk about, as a family, what is it that we think about when we think about memories together? We don't think about the stuff that we got last Christmas. I can't even tell you most of the stuff I got last Christmas. Mm-hmm. But I can tell you how cool it is when we went on that trip to Disney. And when we stayed at DeSoto Caverns in Alabama, and when we were out walking on the beach and Sammy saw the ocean for the first time. Those I can tell you. And the cool thing about experience is, and psychologists will tell us this, is that while those material things, even when you come back to them after a while, they're still just things, and you've lost the thrill of that. Experiences, you don't lose the joy of. Mm-hmm. So you're having a good time while you're on that trip, or you're with your friends, or you're hanging out doing whatever that friends do, right? But when you remember those things later, you're happy all over again. Mm-hmm. That feeling of happiness comes back with experiences, whereas it does not with material goods. Mm-hmm. So I think Jesus was kind of onto something. Go sell what you have and give it to the poor. And then you can see what's important in life. So the second thing that happened this week, and I know that you all have heard about it as well, was the shooting at the college campus in Oregon, in Roseburg. Again. It's insane the number of mass shootings we have had. In the last 294 days, there were 284 mass shootings in this country. And I know that the list of reasons for that is long. Sometimes it's about mental illness. Sometimes, you know what? Sometimes people are just bad. There is evil in the world. Those things happen. But here's what I want to suggest to you today. One of the things that I think that goes on in our culture, and this happens whether it's during the shooting or in the debate afterwards, is that we have lost connection with each other. How many times after a shooting have we heard people say, "Did you see the signs? Did you see anything out of the ordinary from that person?" And they're like, "Oh, I don't know him very well. I thought they were just a regular person." Because nobody knew them well enough to even say that they could see those signs coming. Because we have lost connection with each other. as a society. And part of the reason for that, I think, is we're so caught up in the materialism. We have so much stuff around us that we can't see over the piles of stuff to see each other. To see what really matters. So what really matters in life? There is a huge movement in I think the entire world, actually. And you hear people talk about it occasionally. I'm spiritual but not religious. I think there's a reason for that. Because religion itself can become that barrier to other people. Mm-hmm. Because we surround ourselves, and this is so ironic that this is today, we surround ourselves, even in religion, with the trappings, with the physical stuff. And what really matters is not the candles that are or are not in the box. What really matters is who's here. And are we making a connection with each other? Do you know that you are loved? Do you know that God is available to you? Do you know that you don't have to be alone? On two levels. First of all, there are people here. Right? Mm-hmm. We are God with skin on for each other. To share and to care about one another. And second, on that deeper level, there is God here who is available to you. On the new business cards that we just ordered, it says in very bold letters, reclaim your faith. You know, we get upset if we're missing things. Because it's part of our identity, it's part of who we are, it's our stuff, right? Nobody's immune to this in this culture. Right? We'd like to get over it. But nobody's immune to it. It's our stuff. It's how we identify ourselves. Okay? But when somebody takes what is most important, our connection, our very connection to God, the Creator, our very connection to the divine, how often is that just sort of shoved to the side? Oh, well, okay, maybe I don't deserve that. And we don't even bother to fight for it. If somebody steals our car, we're on 911 filing a police report. Mm-hmm. I want my car back. Right? And we do, and there's nothing wrong with saying that I want my car back. But when somebody tries to steal our faith, our connection to God, the thing that is way more eternal than even the best built Subaru, right? Why are we not fighting for that? Why do we not say, hey, wait a minute. I have just as much right to my faith and my connection to God as anybody else, and nobody gets to tell me otherwise. Yeah. Scripture says, I am convinced that neither death, nor life, nor height, nor depth, nor anything in all creation can separate me from the love of God which is in Jesus Christ. Mm-hmm. Nothing. Whether it's a clerk in Kentucky who won't sign your marriage certificate, or the World Congress of Families who wants to show up and tell us what a normal family looks like, they can't stand between you and Christ. Can't do it. They don't have the right to. God says, I love you so much, I'm going to create a world for you. I love you so much, I'm going to give you what you need. I love you so much that when you don't get it, I will give my only son to make sure you do. That's how much I love you. So when somebody stands up and says, well, you can't be a Christian. God can't love you. No. No. My connection to God is mine, and I have every right to it, because it comes from God. It doesn't come from a civil authority. It doesn't come from society. It doesn't come from somebody who thinks they have the right to approve me or not, or tolerate me or not. It comes from God. It's mine. I get to keep it. So for those people in our community who don't know that that right to their faith has been stolen, and that they have a right to take that back, we proclaim, reclaim your faith. Reclaim your faith. So you may have noticed, maybe you figured it out, the pattern in the songs today. Don't stop believing. A small town girl living in a lonely world. Took a midnight train going anywhere. City boy raised in South Detroit. Took a midnight train going anywhere. The singer in a smoky room, a smell of wine and cheap perfume. For a smile, they can share the night. It goes on and on and on. Because people are looking for connection.
Mm-hmm.
The stuff that we surround ourselves with, that we suffocate ourselves with, means nothing without that connection to other human beings. That's what that song's about. And when we forget that, God tries to remind us. And so when we sing our response song, Make You Feel My Love, this is God singing to you. I know you haven't made your mind up yet, but I would never do you wrong. I've known it from the moment that we met. There's no doubt in my mind where you belong. I'd go hungry, I'd go blind for you, I'd go crawling down the avenue. Jesus would say, I would go to the cross for you. There ain't nothing that I wouldn't do to make you feel my love. It's God speaking to you today. And when we close our service, we will sing, I'll Stand By You. Doesn't matter what's going on in your life. There are things that go on in all of our lives. And sometimes they're great, and sometimes they're tragic. Whatever it is, God says, I'll stand by you. Won't let nobody hurt you. I'll stand by you. So if you're mad, get mad. Don't hold it all inside. Come and talk to me now. Hey, what do you got to hide? I get angry too. But I'm a lot like you. And he was. That's why Jesus came, to be one of us. Because when you need something, when something's going on for you and you just need somebody to understand. We've all had those moments when you just need somebody to listen, to understand. It's really difficult to think, well, it's God, and God's up there, and God's perfect, and God has everything, and God's never going to understand me. And so God says, oh, but I will. And to prove it, I'll come down there and be one of you. And so Jesus walked the same walk that we do, had the same temptations that we have. So that he could say, I get it. I get it. I've been where you are. I know what it's like to be betrayed by somebody that you desperately love. I know what it's like to have to deal with mom. You had a good Jewish mother who I'm sure wanted him to be something other than a carpenter. Be a doctor, be a lawyer. Right? Parental disappointment. Family who did not get him at all. Right? We know that from the things that he said. And he says, expand your view of family. These are my family. This is my mother and brother and sister. The ones who follow God. And people are like, wow, that's really expansive. Yeah, because family's about love, Jesus says. So I think we have two things to consider this week. That is, think about the stuff that surrounds you. Has it become a wall for you to keep people out? Because in many cases it's fine we have all that stuff. Mm-hmm. And it keeps us sometimes from seeing what's really important. Because what's really important is here. And it's in those circles of friends and family that we have. And family that we create. That is that connection with other people. That is what we are about. That is what God is about. And for that, I'm very grateful. Amen.